excitement. The American Sports Cavalcade.
The challenge. The foothills of Southern California, not far from the Mexican border. Those that accept the challenge are these men and machines. They are ready to run at Carlsbad. Hello, I'm Paul Page, and we're here for the Dodge Truck Golden State Nationals. The 125cc machines are ready to go to begin their dance through the air. Not only these bikes will we see today, but also the ATV4s. Steve Evans has that story.
Paul, these four-wheel machines are a wonderful blend of motorcycle and race car technology. Up front, you've got independent front suspension, much like a race car, but under the rider's seat, you've got a 250cc liquid-cooled motorcycle engine. At the back, a full floating axle, much like a motorcycle, with a disc brake. And the man on board kind of half rides and half drives. And unlike the motorcycles, you'll see a lot of sliding in the ATV4s. Now, when we saw these machines last year, the class was the exclusive property of Suzuki. They were the only ones who made this kind of half bike, half car. But today, they will face competition from Honda and Kawasaki. It should be exciting. Right now, let's go back to Paul for the start of the 125 Pros.
36 bikes and riders up on the line. The final signals being given. They're ready to move to the gate, ready to start. There's Kyle Lewis, number 22. He was first overall as an intermediate rider last year. This is his first pro start, the 125. Not a great start for Lewis as the gate drops. And out in front is Raider Mana as they make that first left-hand turn.
Raider Mana on the number 6 factory Kawasaki machine. He is followed very closely by Mike Healy on an Italian-built Cajiba. You're right, Kyle Lewis got a terrible start up that gate, but he is a first-year pro, and here up against some of the best factory 125 riders on this planet. They're all here for Honda, Yamaha, Kawasaki, Cajiba, you name it, and you'll find it here under the CMC sanction at Carlsbad, one of the most physically demanding motocross courses you'll find anywhere. And motocross in America really started right here by CMC over 20 years ago.
The leaders string out single file now. Some of the riders further back still have to battle 4 and 5 abreast to get through the corners, up through the jumps. Tremendous performance as they work their way around this terrain course at Carlsbad.
And another rider to look for. He's only 15 years of age, but we saw him with a brilliant effort a year ago. That is number 911, Sean Kalos, who is a support rider for Yamaha.
And Kalos currently riding in third place and contesting with first and second.
You know, Paul, a lot of people think the 125s are the most exciting breed to watch, more so than the bigger 250s or 500s, because they're so light, well under 200 pounds, so maneuverable, and they've got tremendous power for their size. Well, look at them fly.
The lead now established. There is Raider Mana, the green number 6, right behind him. 66, Mike Healy. And just behind those two is Sean Kalis, number 911. All three contesting for the lead. Raider Mana has it right now.
Now, there will be 2 motos to decide the overall Golden State title. This is just one. The second moto, they'll combine the points. Second moto having a little more importance as far as points are concerned to determine a champion today.
We've seen first, second, and third come through. Now we go back to 4th and 5th. Here is that fight. Currently, it is Ty Davis and Rick Ryan battling. In 6th place is Michael Craig, number 40.
But Paul, he may not stay there long. Craig Yamaha, number 40, showing a lot of horsepower as he's trying to get around one arm. Rick Ryan, a Honda privateer. The two of them are side by side. Michael Craig, number 40, on the outside, completes the pass and moves into 5th.
So Michael Craig comes one position forward on number 40. Back at the front of the field, number 6, Raider Mana continues his lead. He led right from the start of the race. Rick Ryan on 66 is second. And in 3rd place is the young 15-year-old rider, Sean Kalos.
You know, recently CMC took Sean Salis to Hawaii for a stadium motocross event. At 14 years of age, he lapped the field.
And he's showing some of that style right now. As look at him, Sean Kalos moves past Mike Healy on that Italian Cajiba bike and picks up 2nd place and now is in pursuit of number 6, Raider Mana, for the lead. So Sean Kalos at age 15 shows that he has what it takes to be a pro. On the other hand, most interesting situation as we take a look at Mike Healy. He is riding an Italian manufactured bike. The Italians not normally prominent in motocross racing. So earlier, Steve Evans had an opportunity to take a look at this new entry here at Carlsbad.
In Italy, north of Milano, is the village of Varese, and there you will find the Cagiva Motorcycle Factory. Now, if that name is not familiar to you, let me tell you it is to many people in the world, because the last 2 years, Cagivas have won the 125cc World Championship. And talking to the mechanics of Mike Healy's number 66 bike here, it's no particular thing. It's got excellent rear suspension, the swing arm, and also the shock here. The 125cc liquid-cooled engine seems to be beautifully tuned, the workmanship flawless. And up front, it's got what they call white power upside-down forks, okay? Makes them very easy to work on. You do that from the bottom, and also gives them a lot of strength in the triple clamp area here. So it'll be interesting to see how the Cagiva does on these shores. It certainly has a reputation throughout the rest of the world.
Well, it's having its problems handling the Yamaha of Sean Kalos. Kalos was in third, got past Healy. Healy now is back in third place with that Cagiva, and Sean Kalos rides in second. Our leader remains Raider Mana.
And one thing these riders have to be constantly cautious of, the track is changing all the time. Berms are being built where they didn't exist earlier. Here's a terrific race for 4th and 5th. 11, Ty Davis on his Honda. He's in 4th. And 40, Michael Craig on the Yamaha in the 5th position.
Looking back, a fight for 6th place now developing between Rick Ryan, Larry Brooks, Mickey Diamond, and Tyson Boland. Now, Mickey Diamond on 1D, the report from the paddock is suffering from the flu, but he's not going to give up. He's currently battling for 6th place. 6th is currently occupied by Rick Ryan.
Oh, it takes more than a little bug to get these guys down, Paul, as you well know. They just are hard as nails. The best conditioned athletes in the world, motocross riders, and that's not a cliche. That is a proven fact. But for poor Mr. Diamond, there's nothing like the flu to sap your strength. So he's out there and he looks competitive.
Back at the front, Sean Kalos now challenges Raider Mana, and Kalos picks up first. Mana comes back. Mana on number 6. That's Kalos on 911. First, second, and third all running right together. Mike Healy, number 66, currently rides on third, and he begins to close down. But Sean Kalos picks the lead up. There is that young man, 15 years old, out in front. Raider Mana on the inside tries him once again, and Healy continues to tap at the back door of Mana.
Well, this is going to make Sean Kalos' grandfather smile. He is so dedicated to this young man's motocross career. They want him to get noticed a little more by the factories, maybe become a full factory-sponsored rider. He's what they call a support rider now. He gets a few parts, but that's about it. And there's no place Grandpa won't take that young man to show him off, including Hawaii.
So Sean Kalos now begins to show some of that style that we talked about earlier on his demonstration rides in Hawaii. Sean Kalos, look at the interval that he now has as we watch the battle for 2nd place. Raider Mana comes to the inside. There you see him on number 6. And right behind him is Mike Healy. Now, Healy once again riding that Italian Cagiva. That is a bike that is brand new. It's only been in the country a short time, and Healy is still trying to sort it out to find its idiosyncrasies, and he's doing so while he chases Raider Mana. Out in front still is Sean Kalos. So it's Kalos, followed by Mana, Healy, Davis, and Craig. All California riders composing the top 5. We'll be back with more from Carlsbad, California.
Little duck. Because he lives in the San Diego Wild Animal Park, just a few miles east of Carlsbad Raceway. And he's privy every day to gorillas and giraffes and koala bears and all the wonders of this incredible facility. And from time to time, we'll come back and visit this and show you some of the wonders of nature here in North San Diego County.
In the meantime, back on the circuit, number 66, Mike Healy on the Italian bike is back in 2nd place. We're at the CMC Dodge Truck Golden State Nationals. I'm Paul Page with Steve Evans, and we're watching the 125cc Pros.
Let's watch Mana and Healy fly off what they call the ledge. You can see the body English right there as they literally turn those machines in air. I'm not sure you ride these machines, Paul. I think you team up with it. You got to become one.
Well, the combination of rider and machine is so very important, and a simple extension of oneself. Some of the riders have actually expressed it in those terms, same as any really competent racing car driver. You have to meld with this machine, and that still is an unfamiliar area for Healy, who is still trying to learn the bike. Raider Mana, number 6, the green machine. He rides in 3rd place right now, and they are both chasing Sean Kalos, who sits out in front. He took the lead a little earlier on. And, of course, they all work their way around this circuit at Carlsbad, California. Over 20 years old, steeped in tradition, the first motocross course ever in the United States. It has challenged riders for years and years. A bit earlier, both Steve and I had an opportunity, with the course closed, to take a look at the circuit at Carlsbad.
The starting turn here at Carlsbad is only used once in each moto, but it can be the most physical turn on the racetrack because you can have as many as 36 riders on that gate, accelerate to 60 miles an hour down that 200-yard straight, and then all try to funnel into a turn that's only half as wide as the gate. It's a 180-degree downhill hairpin. Now, if you get a good start, the ideal line is right through the center of this course, not on the inside where you lose momentum. If you're a good rider, but you happen to have troubles at the gate, the best way to recover, use all your power, get to the outside and try to flat track it through the starting turn, passing as many riders as possible. To a man, they'll tell you, this turn is like trying to roller skate in a buffalo herd.
Well, Steve, that herd roars through 3 very, very tight turns, sorts itself out, and heads for one of the most important sections on the circuit. So important that it often controls the victory. It's called the ledge. It's an uphill climb. The riders have a nice wide approach. They can set the bike well, and then they launch 5 feet into the air. As they're in the air, they turn the bike, settling down here and facing yet another jump and then a downhill. But this is still not the most awesome jump on the circuit.
No, Paul, it's not. But that treacherous mound may very well be. That is located about a third of the way down the area of the Carlsbad course they call the freeway. It's downhill, the equivalent of a drop off a 10-story building. And anyone who's ever ridden a motorcycle, even recreationally, can tell you it's harder to go fast downhill than it is up. You've got a tremendous assist from gravity, and also the weight transfer is all wrong. Suddenly it's all on the front tire with the rear wheel trying to kick loose. So it's off that ledge, another couple of doubles, another good-sized drop, and into a hard left-hand turn that's going to require a lot of front brake.
The brakes are a key factor in the final section of the circuit as well. It's a gentle climb through a right-hand bend. They're coming up to full throttle now through some small jumps, but then they come for this ledge section that is called the Devil's Drop. Off of here is a 20-foot vertical fall, and as the riders approach the top, they'll tap the brakes. The idea is to set the bike heading downhill because every second they spend in the air slows them down, and sometimes they'll fly as far as 50 or 60 feet. Back on the ground, back on the power, around a bend, and on to the finish line.
Well, one bike and rider working very well out here right now is this man, Mickey Diamond. Flew or not, 1D Honda is flying out there. He is now 5th. Up front is Sean Kalos, the young 15-year-old pro, number 911, followed by the Italian bike rider, Mike Healy, Raider Manna, who's performed up front all race long. And, Paul, this course is changing dramatically. Now, it's damp right in that area, as it was this morning, but look at that turn. It's drying out, and it's very easy for the bike to just wash out from under you.
Going through it now, a fight for 4th place. Number 40 is Michael Craig, and that is Mickey Diamond, again the young lad with the flu, chasing down. It's a contest for 4th place. Mickey Diamond continues at the back of Craig. They both use the same line through this corner. There's young Mickey Diamond. Remember, he's not feeling very well at all. Craig currently in 4th place. Diamond stays right behind him, follows his line through, closes up under braking. Now he's right in there and ready for the charge. Still, it is Craig that is able to hold 4th position.
But both Craig and Diamond are closing on Raider Manna, who led a few of the early laps. And, Paul, it just amazes me the punishment these guys can take. The elbows, the upper arms, the whole upper body, the legs, the knees acting as shock absorbers to try to add more suspension than just the bike offers. You just saw Diamond's bike stand straight on in and try to buck him off.
So Diamond closes down on the 40 bike of Michael Craig. Now, as we see him go away, you see Craig is wearing number 3 on the back of his leathers. But we go with the bike number here, and as we look from the front, you see he is number 40. So don't get confused. That's Raider Manna that is on number 6, and he currently occupies 3rd place. But look at this. Mickey Diamond almost gets both of them on the outside. Now they string out once again, but Diamond definitely on the charge as he closes down on Craig and Manna.
I think he would have had him. Raider Manna did a good job of blocking him. So now Mickey Diamond's got to settle down and try on another section of the track. Here he comes. Mickey Diamond on the right-hand side of your straight. He has got 4th position and now goes after Raider Manna.
So now it is Diamond chasing Manna. The battle is for 3rd place as Diamond, despite whatever illness he may have, is really performing here at Carlsbad. He chases now Raider Manna, but look at Craig. Craig comes back and tries to get back at Diamond.
Just a tremendous race for that 3rd position. And here comes Mickey Diamond again. He is closing up on that 3rd spot that Raider Manna now owns. That's the factory Honda. windup with 22-year-old Mickey Diamond does into third.
Diamond gets it done. Now remember, out in front is Sean Kalos being followed by Healy. Then this tremendous fight for third place. At the moment, third belongs to Mickey Diamond. But it continues to be a fight as Mana almost upsets his bike between Diamond, Mana, and Craig.
Well, a front tire on one of these machines, Paul, would last a long, long time because they are on the throttle grip so hard that the front tire hardly ever has any weight if it's even on the ground at all.
You know, sometimes people want a lot of power in their racing machines, but these 125s are a great example that power isn't always the answer. A well-balanced, lightweight machine with reasonable power is often easier to control than something with awesome power. Many drivers will tell you that a Formula Atlantic car is a lot more enjoyable to drive than a Formula One or an Indy car.
Well, not particularly comfortable with the presence of number 40, Michael Craig, is number 6, Raider Mana, because Michael is right on his fiberglass fender trying to take that fourth place spot away from him.
So while they've strung out first, second, and third, first is Kalos, second is Healy, third is Diamond. Here is the fight now as we watch Mana being chased by Craig.
Interesting to watch the different lines these riders take, depending on their size, their physical ability, the power band of their motorcycle. Guys are riding all over this racetrack right now and flying all over, to might add, as well. Look at number 40, Michael Craig, taking a beat on number 6, Raider Mana.
But Craig can't get past Mana. Mana holds a position. Here comes Craig again. He tries to the outside. Some of the support crews may have been a factor in that one. They're not a factor here as Craig come past Mana, and Craig now has fourth place.
And he did it on the inside. Just a beautiful move. Maneuvering that motorcycle on a tight left-hander, and that put him into fourth position. What a ride.
So they swap positions once again here at Carlsbad Raceway. Kalos leads it. In second place is Healy, and a tremendous fight all the way through the pack. We'll be right back.
So motocross action continues. And factory Kawasaki rider number 6, Raider Mana, can't seem to shake Honda privateer Larry Brooks, number 28, for the 5th position. In the top 5, there are 4 different brands of motorcycles represented. Sean Kalos on a Yamaha, Mike Healy on a Cajiva, Diamond on a Honda, Michael Craig on a Yamaha, Raider Mana, as we talked about, on a Kawasaki.
And Mana is being worried by this man, number 28, Larry Brooks. The fight is for 5th place. Now, Mana started out very strong, but he's been slowly slipping backwards. Now he has to contend with Brooks, and Brooks really wants that 5th position. As Brooks accelerates, tries to catch Mana. Mana has a little better acceleration, which means better positioning off the corner. But look at Brooks as he closes down under braking, reaches up, adjusts his goggles, almost gets an inside shot on Mana. Now they continue the pursuit. Mana is still running in 5th, but Brooks would like to have it.
We've talked, Paul, about how many factory riders there are in this field. The Japanese especially take the 125 class very seriously. The reason being there are more 125s sold in this country than the other size motorcycles all put together. So it's very important to do well on the racetrack. That's what sells motorcycles.
Can't be any finer demonstration of performance than watching these 125s at a place like Carlsbad, especially when you consider the tremendous tradition over 20 years of motocross racing here. Now Brooks closes down on Mana once again, tries the outside, ducks to the inside, can't get it done. They come up single file, over the jump. Again, Brooks down to the inside. Mana holds him off.
And ultimately, a 5th place finish in this first moto could be as important as winning it, because there'll be another race, they'll combine the points. And if you should get a bad start, let's say, in that second moto, and be able to work your way back up, a 5th and a 4th could win it overall.
I'll tell you, Steve Evans, you don't see any finer riding than this. This wonderful battle for 5th place as Raider Mana tries to hold off Larry Brooks. And this point system inspires just this kind of thing. They fight and fight and fight to get every possible point they can. And that creates a fight like this for 5th place.
What Raider Mana is trying to do here is protect that inside line in particular corners like this one. If he goes high, Larry Brooks will dart right in there and take that spot from him.
Remember, Sean Kalos is still the leader. The battle for second place is right here. Mike Healy, number 66, and Mickey Diamond, 1D. Diamond currently runs in 3rd place as he tries to catch Healy on that Italian bike. Again, a bike that is new to Healy, and he's still trying to figure it out.
Well, Mickey Diamond is trying to figure it out as well. Of course, he's on one of the finest prepared bikes you could possibly be aboard. The Honda factory mechanics brought this out. All he had to do was get on it. And here's this Cajiva, it's called, from Italy out in front of him, and he's having a hard time with it.
Out in front of the field on his Yamaha, Sean Kalis, number 911, the 15-year-old, really performing spectacularly here at Carlsbad. At the same time, we watch this fight. There comes Mickey Diamond, number 1D, as he continues his battle, and we get the white flag indicating just one more lap to go.
Paul, can you imagine Sean Kalis in 5 years? The way he rides now, if he stays healthy and dedicated, the kind of motocross athlete he will be.
It's going to be absolutely unbelievable. All of these riders, though, are really incredible athletes. You've mentioned it. It bears saying again that they are unbelievable athletes, better trained than marathoners, the finest physical specimens in the world.
And it wasn't always that way. In the early days of motocross, the Europeans would come to the U.S. and totally dominate. Our riders would go to Europe and be humiliated. But suddenly, our riders adopted the same kind of training regimen. They would ride for hours and hours without a seat on the motorcycle to force them to develop their legs. The big difference, though, has been, I think, mini bike racing, Paul. Now our guys are starting at the age of 6 and 7, and they own world motocross.
By the time you get up to be a 17, 18-year-old running in the Pro Series, you've been a veteran for 10 years, and it shows in the performance of the American riders today. We watch as Diamond continues his chase of Healy. It's a battle for second place. Sean Kalis is out in front on the final lap of the run. Here is the fight. Mike Healy on that Italian bike. He continues to have Diamond battle at his back door. Remember, Diamond suffering from the flu, but you sure can't tell it in his writing.
No, I think his success here today is going to make him feel a whole lot better, more than all the aspirin in the world. But here is Sean Kalis. Remember, we're on the last lap. That is a 15-year-old youngster who is just running away from him. A little salute coming off. Devil's drop. Sean Kalis gets the checkered flag. He has won the first moto, throws his goggles to the crowd. And here comes number 28, Larry Brooks. He has taken the 5th spot. Just behind him, yes, is number 11, Ty Davis. He got 6th. And Radar Manna, who had such a nice ride, has dropped back to the 9th position. A great mix of makes involved. Sean Kalis, of course, winning it, followed by the Italian bike of Healy, Mickey Diamond on his Honda. And here's how the points have been awarded. 41 for Kalis, 38 from Healy, and so on down the line. Sean well knows that he'll have to get a good start and a high-place finish in the second moto to win it overall.
Well, here he is, 15-year-old Sean Kalis. You never really seemed like you were challenged.
Well, I really wanted this race bad. I was hungry. I've been having a lot of bad luck lately, and I really did want to win this one.
Was there any particular problem in any time, or was it just a breeze?
Oh, I started to get a little tired at the end, but everything was going great. The bike was great, the track was, and I felt good.
You weren't bad yourself. Congratulations, Sean.
Thank you.
Let's go back now to Steve.
Paul, not all the hot 125s come from Japan, as Mike Healy proved today on the Kajiba. Fine ride, a good, strong second.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Little history on this bike. When did you get your hands on it?
I've had it for about a month and a half now, and I had a little trouble with Suzuki, and I talked to Kajiba, and they were really, positive with me, so went out, tried the bike. It was really great, and I just went in and signed my contract.
Any differences you noticed between the Italian machine and the Japanese bikes you have ridden before?
It's a lot finer tuned. Everything's handmade. It's a really nice bike.
Well, arrivederci. We'll see you in moto number 2.
Thank you.
The Kajiba definitely working very well for Mike Healy. He finishes in second. And up on the line, the quads are ready to run. 18 machines ready to race in their first moto. We'll be right back.
Wild Animal Park is to strengthen a commitment to wildlife conservation throughout the world and to strive towards man's own survival through the preservation of nature. Where does a 600-pound gorilla sleep? Anywhere she wants to, and there are no better digs than right here.
Well, we're back at Carlsbad Raceway for the CMC Dodge Truck Golden State Nationals. I'm Paul Page with Steve Evans, and the quads are ready to run.
And with the quads, you hear a lot more talk about tires than you do on the motorcycles. Earlier, Paul had a look at the kind of tire technology involved.
Tires, of course, are critical in all forms of racing, certainly in the ATV4s. This is Jim Putman's Suzuki. Now, normally, this machine would come with this particular tire mounted as an all-terrain tire. But then they borrow some technology from the sprint cars as they run on the dirt. That is, they make the tire much more narrow. That is to make the steering run easier. They also have a wider diameter tire, so it's taller, so it goes in and out of the bumps easier and gets over the course easier. Then at the back, again, this is where the power is laid down. about 10 pounds of tire pressure. It moves back and forth as the tire goes through the dirt in the corners. Because of that, it has a tendency to completely roll off the rim. So they build the rim up, even to the point of, again from the sprint cars, the bead block to keep the tire on the rim as it races.
Well, Marty Hart, closest to our camera, he hopes his tires stay on the rims of his new Honda machine. The gate falls towards them. They don't dare try to cheat it. Now, there's a different kind of danger here. These are like open-wheel race cars, Indy cars, Formula One cars. If you get tire to tire, somebody's going to flip, Paul Page.
Well, Donnie Banks jumps off into the lead, but unlike the bikes, it's a lot narrower system that you have to get through here just simply because everybody else is so much wider. It seems like we've got a group of guys here who can't decide, do they want to race cars, do they want to race on the bikes?
Well, one thing they figured out, they're all in their mid to late 20s, and the motorcycles were starting to ride them. And this is just a nice place for them to go. It's not quite as physically demanding, but certainly takes the same level of skill.
It's nice to have these ATV4s come along because it does create yet another area for a rider to go. When he's done with riding on the motocross circuit on the two wheels, he gets a little older, his physical conditioning deteriorates a little bit. Now he can run the ATV4.
It extends his career because the factories are just as interested in winning here as they are with the bike. They're selling a lot of these vehicles.
Donnie Banks leads it. Jimmy White second. Ron Beebe is third. Rodney Fowler fourth. Jim Putman is fifth. And Jeff Watts runs along in sixth now.
And Donnie Banks is on one of those Hondas. Suzuki, as I mentioned earlier, they had the whole field covered last year, but now some other manufacturers have entered the fray. And look, Paul, a little sprint car action going on out there. They like to slide them a bit.
Nice little fight there for fifth between Jim Putnam on 12 and 46L. That's Jeff Watts. Now watch Watts as he is really beginning to pour on the power.
He's a 24-year-old rider from Anaheim, California, on a Suzuki. Now up front, number 31W, Jimmy White, he's running second with his Suzuki. In front of him is a Honda, Donnie Banks, and behind him, number 25, Ron Beebe, also a Honda. So a great showing by that new machine.
In fact, Steve, if you look at the top six, 3 are Suzuki, 3 are Honda. So they're spaced well, currently being led by Donnie Banks. There he is, that D4. It is a Honda machine, followed by the Suzuki of Jimmy White.
And a totally different sensation for these drivers as they try to fly those machines. They don't want to fly them if they can help it, Paul. They'd like to keep that wheel on the ground all the time. But some of these jumps are so steep and have a lip that you just can't avoid it.
The battle for first place. You're watching first, second, and third, as despite the fact they don't want to get in the air, indeed, the way this course is laid out, you have very little choice in some places.
I'll tell you, a rider of one of these ATV4s is just as tired as a two-wheel rider when he gets off that course. It's that tough. I think it takes a little more arm strength maybe to move these machines around.
As they continue to work their way around the circuit here at Carlsbad, no change at the top of the field. It is still Donnie Banks leading it. But let's go back a little bit in the field and take a look at the battle for fourth place. Coming off of the ledge, that's Rodney Fowler, 14F, and he's being chased by the 46L machine. That is Jeff Watts. It's a battle for fourth.
You know, another place in Southern California you'll find these ATV4s is on small speedway motorcycle flat tracks like Costa Mesa and Ascot. Boy, they have a great time with them there, just much like you would an oval track race car. There's Rodney Fowler. He's got a big grin on his face. We took that picture. I don't know about now, though.
Not with Jeff Watts, 46, right behind him. Watts comes up on the outside. He's going to try Fowler. He comes down the outside as they come down the freeway. He pulls alongside. Can he hold it? He gets to the inside of the corner, but Fowler still holds him off. And now, 46, Jeff Watts moves along and picks up fourth.
One thing you do notice with the ATV4s, Paul, is their speed is greatly reduced from the two-wheelers, and that's an added safety factor for them.
So currently running in fourth place is 24-year-old Jeff Watts. And here in the ATV4s, most of the riders are 24, 25, 26 years old. Back to the front of the field once again. It is still Donnie Banks, and Jimmy White is right there, knocking on the back door, with Ron Beebe running in third place. Jimmy White tried desperately to get up and get around Donnie Banks. Machine's a little bit wider, so Banks can use his machine to try and block out the charge of White.
There's a temptation here for me to call these riders, but anytime you're on four wheels, as far as I'm concerned, you're a driver. So, Paul, look how these drivers slide all over that machine, using their weight specifically in the turns to try to gain traction, to drive around them.
Well, Steve, you may have pointed out the one key difference between a rider and a driver, and that is these lads aren't attached to the machines by any sort of seatbelt or safety system, so maybe they're really riders.
And to contradict myself, maybe to be a driver you have to have a steering wheel and not handlebars.
Whatever they are exciting to watch as we look back to see the 46 machine of Jeff Watts as he continues with that battle. Rodney Fowler trying to take fourth place away.
You know, the last thing you would want on a machine like this would be seatbelts. You'd want to get away from it if you get in trouble.
Looking back to the front of the field once again, it is Donnie Banks that leads. Jimmy White second, Ron Beebe third, Jeff Watts is fourth, Rodney Fowler is fifth. We'll be back with more from Carlsbad right after this.
Raceway in Southern California. I'm Steve Evans along with Paul Page for our coverage of the CMC Dodge Truck Golden State Nationals. Now, among our ATV fourth, well, there's been no change in the top three. It is still Donnie Banks on a Honda D4 up front, followed pretty closely by 31W Jimmy White. He's on a Suzuki, and Ron Beebe in third. He's also on a Honda. So you got a Suzuki sandwiched in by two Hondas, Paul.
And these are machines that still are that cross between motorcycles and racing cars, so they obviously lean more toward being a motorcycle. And the riders seem to be happier with the idea that they'll get thrown off in case of an accident.
Oh, that's absolutely correct. You don't want to be strapped to any kind of a machine unless it's got a roll bar or roll cage over it. Then it's a horse of another color. But one thing is the same here between these guys and the motorcycle racers. They're all wearing the same exact safety gear. The helmets, the chest protectors, the shoulder pads, the new almost ski-type boots. These are a very, very safely equipped riders.
These riders are also seeing a new circuit than they practiced on this morning. They've smoothed out the freeway in the interest of safety. We look now at the battle for fourth place. 46L, that's Jeff Watts. Rodney Fowler continues his challenge.
Well, the reasons those modifications were made, the freeway section had developed some nasty bumps that can pitch these things in for in. They could not make the kind of an adjustment with just weight and pulling up on the handlebars that a cycle rider can make. They're a little different breed, and the course sometimes have to be a little different for safety reasons.
You know, these are sort of a new venue as we take a look at Donnie Banks, the leader, Jimmy White in second, and Ron Beebe in third. These are a new technology in racing, and so there's a lot to learn about them. But it's amazing to me as we look right here that they can take the same sort of obstacles and challenges that the two-wheel motorcycles can as we watch them as they work their way down the freeway.
You know, Paul, and the beating that these riders take is just incredible. Maybe they don't need the sheer physical strength that the two-wheelers have, but it's all the shock that is transmitted back through their body. That's why the ATV4 races are usually shorter than the two-wheel variety.
And they're a bit of a combination between the two-wheel motocross and maybe more like snowmobiling, where they slide back and forth across the machine to get it into the corner exactly where they want it. Unfortunately, it's not as smooth as running a snowmobile on ice or on snow.
You know, something else I like about these little mini racers is you don't need a fancy trailer or truck. You can just slide in the back of the family station wagon. There is the last lap flag being displayed for our leader, D4 Donnie Banks on the Honda. Still in second place, 31W Jimmy White. That's a Suzuki. And still in third place, yet another Honda, Ron Beebe T25.
Donnie Banks unchallenged for the lead at the moment, but a nice little fight. Working up for second place. Jimmy White is second at the moment. And Ron Beebe is closing down behind him. That's Beebe, number 25. Just ahead of him is Jimmy White. The leader, uncontested, but possibly a change in position on this, the last lap for second place.
And, Paul, these guys are tired. You can tell as they come off of the ledge there. They're just not quite as high in the air, not quite as aggressive. Everybody's arms are starting to go away on them.
The fight continues for fourth, though unchanged. 46L, Jeff Watts is fourth. In fifth place is Rodney Fowler. They've fought all afternoon, the entire run here for fourth place. It stays static.
Here's our leaders. That is D4 Donnie Banks, just making that right-hander, number 4, followed pretty closely now by Jimmy White on the Suzuki, trying to save a little of Suzuki's reputation here. These Hondas have come on very strong, surprising a lot of people.
And coming on strong as well is Jeff Watts. 46L is now running in third place, and he's closed up behind the leader, Donnie Banks, and second place, Jimmy White. There they are.
That's right, but it's still Donnie Banks and Jimmy White here battling it out for first and second. Jimmy White trying to find some place to pass. It's a little harder with these wider machines with 4 wheels than it is the narrower motorcycle, and he hasn't got much time. Oh, this course is getting treacherous with these machines. Be between their action and the earlier action of the motorcycle. This is one bumpy, devilish Carlsbad Raceway. There's our leader, D4. Donnie Banks on the Honda. Just another couple of jumps, humps, and turns. And over the Devil's Drop he comes. There is the checkered flag for Donnie Banks on the D4 Honda. Likewise, a checker for the second place rider, Jimmy White, 31W on the Suzuki. And here's the final results. Donnie Banks puts one in the bank. Remember, it's a combination of two motos. Jimmy White in second, Jeff Watson up for third, Ron Beebe finished fourth, Rodney Fowler in the fifth position. Now let's see how the points are awarded. 41 for Banks, 38 for White, so on down the line. Now after the second moto, the points will be combined to determine the overall winner. Paul?
Donnie, good run. Any particular problems?
No, I was getting a little tired out there. It's getting real choppy. And my suspension wasn't handling as good as I want, but the power seemed real good. I didn't think there's any problems, though.
For safety purposes, they made some changes with the circuit. Did that throw you a curve?
Coming down the hill, yeah. I was taking it a little bit slow anyway because it's a long way to the bottom, you know. If you were to fall or something, it'd be a long way. So I was smooth and trying to get smooth and just take it easy and hold the lead. That's all I was trying to do.
Well, you got it done. Congratulations. We'll see you a bit later. Let's go back to second place and Steve Evans.
A strong second place for Jimmy White. Jim, are you a little surprised the Honda is this quick this soon?
Not really. The Honda isn't really as good a bike as the Suzuki, and Clem research has really got my Suzuki running well. It's got a real good motor in it.
Well, Steve, it was still a Honda that finished first. Here's Ty Davis on his 125. He finished sixth in the first moto, earned 31 points. How will he do in the second? We'll find out. The 125s are coming up.
The CMC Dodge Truck Golden State Nationals, it's time for the final moto of the 125 Pros. This man is ready. That's Mickey Diamond, 1D, a factory Honda rider. He finished third in moto number 1 and garnered 36 points. Here are the boots of number 66, Mike Healy. You'll remember he rides the Italian Cajiva. He finished second with 38 points. He looks a little like a spaceman with a stylized helmet and football-style shoulder pads.
And the man who won the first moto, really a boy, 15 years old, Sean Kalos, he rides the Yamaha. He's ready to roll out. He already has 41 points as a result of that victory in Moto 1. This is Moto 2. This will decide the overall winner for these 36 riders.
Indeed, you can see the starter. When he turns that card sideways, there'll be just seconds until that gate falls towards you. In the old days, the gate fell away. There's Diamond right in the center of your picture. He turns that card sideways. There'll be just seconds until that gate falls towards you. In the old days, the gate fell away. There's Diamond right in the center of your picture. The old days, the gate fell away. You could cheat it. Not here. And Diamond is hung up on the gate. Diamond has got that pipe hung up between the front wheel and the engine gate as the rest of the field thunders into turn 1. And now Diamond, boy, does he have to play catch up on that Honda.
Devastating situation for Mickey Diamond, who almost drops the bike again. His day is going terribly as the rest of the field roars away. Diamond hangs up in the gate and then almost drops the bike.
And that field is being led by number 66, Mike Healy on the Cajiva. In the second spot on a Honda 1R is Rick Ryan. In the third spot is Raider Manna, number 6.
You know, Steve, I can't get over what a nice showing this is for that new Italian Cajiva bike. Here it is, its first real performance, and it is really showing well for Mike Healy as he runs out in front of the field. Now, here comes the field over the ledge now as we watch everybody come through.
And bringing up the rear is Sean Wooten, but bringing up the rear even further back is 1D Mickey Diamond. I hate to say it this early, Paul, but it would take a miracle for him to garner enough points here to win this thing overall now.
The leaders strung out, running smooth. We take a look here. The battle for 7th place. Tyson Boland and Mike Kurowski are running in 7th. Currently, Boland has it, but he is being challenged by number 42.
Tyson Boland, number 38, is on a Kawasaki, and he's a fast-rising young rider in CMC competition. They expect great things from this kid over at Kawasaki, the Mean Green Machine.
Well, the 125s in their second and final moto of the day, and Mike Healy on that new Italian bike is in front. He's being chased by 1R, Rick Ryan. Ryan closes in just a bit. Raider Manna has moved into 3rd place. Now, remember, Manna ran in the lead in the first moto for a while and then suffered some sort of problem and fell backwards and backwards and backwards. So now he is trying to get back up to the front, score some points, get an overall win. There he is, number 6.
And he still finished 9th in the first moto, so he's not out of hope here. He could win this thing overall if the leaders have some problems.
Raider Manna, number 6, currently rides in 3rd. Remember, finished 9th. He ended up in a collision with Larry Brooks that put him well back.
Well, speaking of Larry Brooks on the number 28 machine, Paul, there he is. He's in the 4th position with the 1X bike of Jeff Bethane, giving him some pressure. Now, our leader up front, Mike Healy, he's got to be wondering where Sean Kalos is. And Sean won the first moto. I'm sure his crew about to display a pin board to him saying, hey, you don't have to push too awfully hard because Sean is way back at a terrible start.
There's Larry Brooks, number 28. He is a privateer, rides Payne his own way, rides a Honda. Showing very well at the moment. He's running at 4th place.
And it's this kind of showing that catches the factory attention, or maybe a major motorcycle dealer. They say, hey, come on, kid, we'll help you out a little bit, and let's see just how you can progress if you have the right kind of equipment, and maybe take some of that pressure off you as far as paying the bills are concerned. Now, poor Mickey Diamond here is 1D. He's just kind of loping along out there. His day, for all intents and purposes, is over, and this is why. You see him looking at that gate? Well, he tried to cheat the gate just a little bit and got hung up on the pipe. And I think, Paul, there may be some damage to the front end of that machine. That's why he's not up to speed out on the course.
You see, he tries to fight the bike back out of the gate, and it's tough to get it to come loose. And then, as he took off, this occurred. He dug that front wheel in and almost totally lost control of the bike. Only incredible skill really got it back under him. So the combination of the two have put him so far back, it really doesn't matter at this moment. We look at the fight now for 2nd place. On the Honda, Rick Ryan, 1R. He's being chased by Raider Manna, the 20-year-old on the number 6 Kawasaki.
And Raider last season won the Dodge Dakota Transcal CMC Series. That was a big victory for him, and he's still in the hunt for this one. Rick Ryan, 1R, a Honda-mounted rider, currently in the 2nd position with Raider Manna right behind him.
And remember, Ryan is a privateer. Once again, he paves his own way. He went out, bought the bike in the store, has no particular special support from the manufacturers in any way. He is, on the other hand, running against bikes that are prepared, paid for, engineered, designed, completely supplied by the factory. So when he's this far forward, he's doing very well.
Let me tell you the dark horse here. That's Larry Brooks, number 28. He's in the 4th place right now and starting to pick on the 3rd place rider, number 6, Raider Manna.
Behind him, Larry Brooks finished 5th in the first moto, earned 32 points, so he's trying to get as far forward as he can. But at the moment, we still have Mike Healy running in 1st place. He finished 2nd in the first moto, so unless something happens to Healy, he seems to be a shoe-in on that Italian bike for the overall win.
But if something does happen to Healy, we are going to need a computer to figure out who wins this thing overall.
So the possibilities here at Carlsbad, at the moment at least, are endless, and that makes for great racing.
Well, the youngster that captured our imagination and attention to the first moto, Sean Kalos, 911, he's way back in 2013. He had a bad start, very similar to Mickey Diamond's, the 1D rider. So there's Sean. You saw his shining face when Paul talked to him earlier after that first moto. But right now, he's just struggling back there.
But notice, Sean is not about to give up. He's going to continue to fight. Just ahead of him, A.J. Whiting, Eddie Hicks. He's trying to fight with both of them. He may not be a winner at the end of the day, but he's going to ride for all it's worth.
And this is one sport you don't ever want the reputation as a quitter. You ride as hard as you can, despite whatever problems you may be having physically or with the machine.
Still out in front of this field is Mike Healy. We're watching the back of the pack now as 911, Sean Kalos, who won the first moto, got a terrible start, trying desperately to work his way up and at least put some sort of showing into this field.
Well, it's at moments like this that a youngster like Sean has to remember those good days and know that they'll come again. Like I mentioned earlier, in Aloha Stadium last season, at the age of 14, he completely lapped the professional field. And I had personally never seen that done before, Paul.
And at age 13, he became one of the youngest pros ever in CMC history. So he's been riding as a pro now for several years, and he's only 15 years old.
And he's a support rider currently, but I have a feeling that's going to change very soon. His grandfather's a great big bus with a workshop in it. They travel in style. He wants this boy to go somewhere and is willing to put up whatever it takes.
I don't think there's any question that Yamaha is taking a hard look at Sean, the possibility of moving him up to a full factory contract sometime in the very near future.
Well, if they're not, another manufacturer might be.
one very, very tough rider. 911, Sean Kalos. Back to the lead. Here is number 66, the Italian bike, Mike Healy. And in second place, 1R, Rick Ryan, a privateer riding on the Honda. So two unusual situations. This new Italian bike out in front and a privateer on a Honda in second place. There is Mike Healy on that new bike. He is our leader at the moment, and he is in very good position to pick up an overall win. Remember, he finished second in the first moto. So Mike Healy leads it, and it's a strong lead that he has over Rick Ryan. Mana is third, Brooks is fourth, Boland rides in fifth. We'll be back with more of the 125 Pros in a...
No, this is not the infield at Hialeah Racetrack in Florida. These flamingos are at the San Diego Wild Animal Park, where millions come each year to contemplate the wild animals of the world and nature's wilderness. And birds are a big part of this facility, which is owned and operated by the same people that manage the world-famous San Diego Zoo. This has to be a must on your vacation list in Southern California, and why not a trip to Carlsbad Raceway, where we continue with the 125 Pros and the CMC Dodge Truck Golden State Nationals. I'm Steve Evans, along with Paul Page, and great racing we have seen today and continue to see.
As we look back in the field now, here is a fight for seventh. Jeff Festang runs in seventh at the moment on 1X, and that's Mike Kydrowski on 42 chasing him down.
And all the action on the course today is starting to dry it out. You can see it's starting to get holes and whoopsie-doos, as the racers call them. It's getting more and more difficult to track that bike in a straight line. But Mike Healy is having pretty good luck at doing it on the Cajiva number 66. He is leading, but look at 1R Rick Ryan closing in on him.
I tell you, Rick Ryan has been there throughout this run. The Honda Privateer running very well. And once again, two extraordinary circumstances. A brand new bike out in front, a Privateer chasing. I think you really have to give a lot of credit to Rick Ryan. He's maintained a position about 12 feet off the back of Healy's machine.
And you can bet Healy knows he's there. He can hear him. He can feel his presence. We talked about there being two motos and points awarded and combined. Well, if there's any kind of a tie, the finish in the second moto that breaks that tie. So the second moto in that instance can be a bit more important.
These two riders at the front of the field, Healy and Ryan, are really perfection. Look at the way they control these machines. Now, these 125s are nicely powered for their weight, and so the riders can really throw them around. And we watch Mike Healy, despite the fact, as Steve mentioned, that the circuit is really drying out, and it's getting worse and worse with every lap. But still, he's a master at getting the machine around the circuit, getting it to settle down, keeping it out of the air, and keeping it on the power.
You know, Paul, they're headed uphill now, threading their way to the top of the mountain, which is the beginning of what we call the Carlsbad Freeway. And I think that downhill section, when we see Healy, that's a lot like a downhill skier. It takes some of the same abilities and balance.
As we take a look at the second-place rider who continues to chase Mike Healy, you know, there's another situation here, Steve, and that is that these riders, if you really want to be good in motocross in the world, you have to come to Southern California. And what a neat feeling it is to be at a circuit like Carlsbad that has all of the fine tradition, is older than any one of these riders here. You just know this is where all the greats are made, and I'm trying to be one, too.
Well, that's right, and there's a lot of publicity these days about Supercross in major stadiums around the country. They sell them out. Anaheim Stadium, 70-some-odd thousand people. The largest crowd ever in Anaheim Stadium was not for the Rams or baseball's Angels, but for a motocross. But to a lot of these riders, this is tradition. This is where real men race, outdoors in the wild.
Physically, what is the difference, Steve, between running this and running the Supercross?
Well, I think in many ways, Paul, they're equally punishing because Supercross has towering jumps that just drop you off of, like driving off the roof of your house. It's not nearly as fast. You can't attain the speed, but they build such a rugged, bumpy, it's a course that makes the Baja look like a picnic.
On the other hand, Carlsbad really takes it out of you. In fact, on similar courses in Europe, when the riders are done, they just simply drop the bikes, run and collapse. They don't do interviews or anything.
And also here at Carlsbad, you have speed, great speed, and you better get used to it fast. Here's the race for third place coming at us right now.
Number 6, Raider Mana, and he is being chased again and continually by number 28, Larry Brooks. Both men trying to figure into the points. Both men going for a first overall win should something happen to Mike Healy, but that doesn't appear likely at the moment. So they continue to chop at one another as we take a look at Larry Brooks. He runs in fourth. He is trying to move up.
And at this point in the race, your arms are getting tired, your legs are getting tired, your equipment is maybe getting a little bit tired. The oil is hot in the front forks. It's not dampening quite as well. The monoshock on the rear, same thing can happen there. So bike and rider, maybe not quite as good as they were when they left the gate.
Once again, though, Carlsbad has rewarded all of us with some tremendous fighting here. We're watching this wonderful battle at the lead, but again, as so often occurs in motocross, we're seeing fights all up and down through the field. Earlier, way back in 23rd, we watched Sean Kalis as he tried to work his way forward, not giving up simply because he got a bad start.
Well, I'll tell you, these two riders fighting for second and third right here are just beating on each other. One are Rick Ryan and number 6, Raider Manna. That's for the second position, and occasionally one guy will get out a couple of bike lengths, and then they'll almost hit. They get so close together, and can they ever fly? You'd think they had wings.
I think that battle is actually carrying them further forward because they're beginning to close down on Mike Healy now, who is running in first place. So as these two fight, they're picking up so much speed, they're closing down. But let's take just a moment to step away. We have a special report from our culinary experts.
Occasionally during our race coverage, I like to bring you a food report if there's something particularly good at that track, like the brats at Road America or the chicken at Watkins Glen. So I thought I better see what the great chefs of motocross have prepared for today's luncheon repast. So I get a hot dog from that stand there, $1.50. And I say to the guy, the weenie's cold. The guy says, I know, that's how we serve them. I said, why do you serve them cold? He said, because I got no way to heat them up. I said, what about the microwave there? He says, no, that's for the burritos. Bottom line of this report is, if you come to Carlsbad, bring your lunch. Here's Sundance.
Boy, I'll tell you, steak au poivre, coquille Saint-Jacques, or hot dogs, Steve's got all the answers.
And I will continue to. But if you come to Carlsbad along with your lunch, bring your binoculars for world-class motocross action. What a fight we've got, and it's starting to happen up front.
It's all happening at the front of the field. Mike Healy, number 66, is now being chased and pursued very closely by not only second place, but third place. He is trying desperately to hold off Rick Ryan, but look at Ryan. Ryan pulled up alongside for just a second. Now he drops back, moves to the other side. He continues in pursuit. Healy pulls away just a bit. Ryan closes once again. Manna comes up just behind as well. First, second, and third, all running right together. You can throw a blanket over him. Healy accelerates away. Now Ryan comes on the throttle. Raider is right behind. As here comes Rick Ryan trying to close again. They head for Devil's Drop. That's Healy coming over, then Ryan, then Manna. First, second, and third running right together.
And they all know, Paul, the time is starting to run out. If you got to make your move, now is going to be the time. And here is Raider Manna going right by Rick Ryan. Rick either missed a shift or he broke something as he is falling back.
Well, Steve, it looks like something's actually broken on the bike as Ryan slows down. Larry Brooks, number 28, comes by. Tyson Boland also gets by. So Ricky Ryan, who was really having a wonderful fight for the lead with Mike Healy, suddenly has something go askew, and he seems to be falling further backwards. Now we take a look once again. This is the race for third place. Larry Brooks and Tyson Boland. Here comes the 66 machine. That's your leader. That's Mike Healy. Now riding in second place is Raider Manna. And the fight is for third place between Brooks and Boland.
And here is Rick Ryan's Honda crew working on that bike. There's one man coming over, it looks like, with a pry bar that's down in the area of the transmission shifter, so maybe it is jammed in one gear or another. But anyway, he is back underway, and as he headed out on the course into the pit, he's going back to race some more.
Despite the fact that he's well behind this man, number 66, Mike Healy. But look at second place. Raider continues to try and catch Healy. And Healy is driving for all he's worth. But it seems that at this moment, Raider has more stamina and more power.
Absolutely, but Mike Healy has the advantage. He's in first place, and Raider's not. And that's going to be all important when the checkered flag is... Oh, there was a bobble there by Mike Healy. He got his boot dug in to one of those soft banks. That's why the motocross coaches tell these guys, keep your feet on the pegs. Look at Raider. Raider dashes inside, side by side. What? A motorcycle race over the jump simultaneously. The better coming out of the experienced Mike Healy. Now Healy says, I got to get away from this guy. I'll try and I get a burn shot. And he might have just tagged Raider a bit.
He almost got Raider into the dirt. Now Raider roars on the power once again. They're climbing up the hill, and Healy is trying desperately to get away. So Healy leads it, but he's being pursued closely. We'll be back with the finish right after this.
laps of the 125 Pro Motocross, and Mike Healy, number 66 on the Italian-built Cajiva, continues, but barely, to hold off number 6, the Kawasaki of Raider Mana. I'm Steve Evans along with Paul Page, and Paul, they've got us on our feet for this one.
Oh, this has been a wonderful fight here at Carlsbad in the Golden State Nationals as we watch Mana continue to tap on the back door of Mike Healy. Healy has had such a wonderful afternoon. That Italian bike working so well, but now it's skill and machine trying to hold off Mana. Mana comes down to the inside. He pushes past Healy. He has the lead now, so Healy gives the lead up to Mana, and Healy begins to fall back just a bit. You know, Steve Evans, Mana sat lap after lap after lap behind Healy. I'm sure in all that time he was able to work out exactly the spot that he performed just a little bit better. Some pretty bright racing.
And also he was watching the leader, Healy, to see if there was any corner where he consistently went wide. He found one, took advantage of that. Now Healy is going to try to strike back. He's got blood in his eye now.
Boy, what smart riding, though. Mike Healy rides in second, and look just behind him, Larry Brooks trying to close down as we take the white flag and begin the last lap with a change on the penultimate lap as Mana picked up the lead from Mike Healy.
Let's shift our conversation a bit to Larry Brooks on the Honda number 28. He is still in this thing. In fact, he is now starting to gain on Healy. Healy in the second place position.
Now the fight moves to second place, and it's really a three-way battle because Boland is moving in there as well. So Brooks chasing Healy. They come up to the top of the run. In the air now as one gets into the side of the other. Both maintain balance, but Brooks gets past, and Healy is forced off the side of the circuit.
He is, Paul, and that's going to cost Healy a couple of places as number 38 Tyson Boland took over the third spot. Mike Healy, that little encounter dropped him back to fourth, and he's got to pull him to the inside. He may have bigger trouble than that, Paul.
You know, Steve, with that contact in the air coming off the ledge, I'm surprised that Healy stayed upright. Now look at him as he fights the bike, and that's Michael Craig on number 40 that is right behind him. He's got a number 3 on his back once again, but the bike is 40, and it is Craig, and he's trying to take fourth place away from Healy. There he gets it done. Healy still has his trouble.
And here's the race for second. 28 Larry Brooks, 38 Tyson Boland right behind him. There's racing going on all over this track. Well, there is Raider Mana headed for the checkered flag, but Paul, with Healy suddenly dropping back, Larry Brooks moving up, I'm not sure who is going to win this thing overall. That is going to be a CMC decision. They're going to have to head up the points and tell us.
Well, Brooks looks to be in a great position as we watch Mana head up for the Devil's Drop, down for the last time, and toward the checkered flag. Now, in second place is Larry Brooks as he comes across the line, finishing in second, so that should give Brooks enough points for an overall win.
Well, here's the finishing order for that second moto. It was Mana, Brooks, Boland, Craig, and Healy. But my numbers show a tie between Brooks and Healy. Let's go to Paul with Raider Mana.
Good run there, but the first moto really pulled you down.
Yeah, I got out there in the first couple laps and just got tense, and my arms pumped real bad, and I was just on my downdraft. And I was in fifth, and Larry right here rammed right in the side of me and took me out.
Then you're finally able to catch up to Healy. How'd you get past him?
He started making a lot of mistakes, and down the downhill, he went a little bit wide, and I cut on the inside of him.
Now, if you had only pulled that first moto a little stronger, you could have been first overall.
Yeah, it would have worked out a little bit better, but I got to learn to warm up my arms before the first moto.
Maybe next time.
All right.
Congratulations. Good luck.
Thank you.
And the hard luck story of the day is Mike Healy, who finished fifth. He should be with Steve.
Well, Paul, I'm still waiting for Mike Healy here, and I think they're still computing the points. Larry Brooks, you ended up in second spot in this moto. How about overall?
Real good. The first moto I rode pretty good, got a bad start. Started off way back and caught up to fifth, which I thought was pretty good. In the second moto, I got a decent start and moved up to second. So for fifth, the first moto, and the second moto will do pretty good.
Should put you close to the top, if not maybe on top.
Yeah, they're saying I won overall, but I'm not sure yet. We'll wait for the official score.
Well, that's what we're waiting for as well. A fine ride. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Paul?
Terrific run there. Italian bike looks strong.
Yeah, thanks a lot. It is working really good, except for a little minor problem at the end of the race. Yeah, the silencer fell off the pipe, and I think I probably could have kept it up if it wasn't for that. Lost a lot of horsepower.
Were you getting a lot of pressure from behind?
I was getting, a lot of it, but just Larry Brooks that was just here, doesn't race fair and never has. If he knew how to ride fair, there wouldn't have been, bumping out there, and it would have been clean racing. He landed on top of me, over jump, knocked my shoulder out of socket. Had to ride the last half of the race, lap, with the shoulder out of socket. Came back in here, put it back in the socket, and the guy doesn't even say sorry for landing on me.
Is there anything you can do about that now?
Just race with him. That's all I can do.
And next time, beat him bad.
Yeah, next time I'll beat him.
Your shoulder's all right now?
Yeah, it's okay now.
Good talking with you.
Thank you.
Well, a lot of things can happen when two motorcycles are side by side, 10 feet in the air. We'll have to wait to find out who for sure is the overall winner among the 125 pros. But getting ready, the final moto of the ATV4s. Stay with us.
Animal Park. You can look and see the animals in their natural habitat, like the elephants in the Elephant Overlook. A good day at the Animal Park in San Diego. Nice afternoon at Carlsbad as well. Let's try and explain the finish now. Overall, in the 125s, Brooks and Healy, same number of points, but Brooks, with a better finish in the second moto, is now the winner. Let's go meet him with Steve Evans.
Well, Paul, I am back with Larry Brooks because we have just heard from the CMC scoring department, and indeed, Larry Brooks is our overall winner today at 125. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. It was a hard day of racing, a lot of come-from-behind racing, but it got better at the end, and overall is what I wanted.
Mike Healy had some words to say about that incident where he claims you landed on his shoulder, dislocated his shoulder.
He was a little upset. He tried to pull over on me and try to cut me off there in the air, and it doesn't really work in the air because I can't really control the bike's movement in the air. So it just landed where it was going to land, and it just happened to be on his shoulder, and I'm real sorry about that, but it's racing.
Again, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
So Larry Brooks wins it all, and as always in racing, there's two sides to every racing story.
One more race to go, the ATV4s. Here is number 46, Jeff Watts. He finished third in the first moto with 36 points. He's ready to roll. He runs against 31, Jimmy White. White finished second. He has 38 points from the first moto. And, of course, Macon, Georgia's Donnie Banks sits on his Honda, number D4. He's ready to run as well. He has 41 points. Also, by the way, Donnie Banks is the oldest competitor in this field at age 28. The ATV4s are now at the gate and ready to run.
And it was that number 4 Honda that won the very first moto. So he has more points than anyone else. He's the guy to catch. Now, just as with the two-wheelers, you don't really want to try to anticipate that gate. And they really everybody has their own little trick. They start the flag card, or you see them engine forward here. And it looks like a good start by most of the competitors as the herd heads down into the starting turn. The turn they only see one deep break, and there's a rider sideways. That impedes the progress of some, but it looks like everybody gets through safely.
Jimmy White came off the line fastest and was running well down into the first turn. Now they've begun to string out just a bit. Everybody seems to be in good position.
Jimmy White with about a 3 ATV4 length lead. Oh, and we've got a tangle there, Paul. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 riders involved.
Real traffic jam. Olmstead, William Pepper, Richard Worley, and Andrew Bach all tangle up there. Now they have to pull apart and get back into the chase. We go back to the lead.
And that is 31W Jimmy White, followed by Marty Hart on the number 17 machine, number 8 Eddie Sanders, 11F Sean Bentley. Now Donnie Banks did not get that good a start on his D4 Honda, but won the first moto. He's going to have to catch up if he hopes to assure himself of an overall victory.
Marty Hart and Jimmy White battle. Here come the rest of the field through. And look at how much they have to fight those machines. It's terribly rough down here. It's really dried out. And to throw one of these machines around takes a lot of spirit out of anybody. They really have to fight. As we watch Jimmy White leading Marty Hart. Now, Hart was right up on White's tail for a moment, but he's dropped back now, and Jimmy White continues his lead down the freeway.
You know, the terrain here at Carlsbad is starting to look kind of like the surface of the moon. This is the same racetrack in name only that these guys contested on earlier. The 125 pros in their final moto, they really dried it up and chewed it up. If I was one of these riders now, Paul, I think I'd take up an extra notch in the old kidney belt. They're really going to be tired when this one's over.
You know, Steve, all racetracks change throughout the day, everywhere from the Indianapolis 500 down to a little fifth of a mile track. But a motocross circuit changes more than anything else because they, as they pass over it, alter the contour of the circuit and change what it does to it.
Plus, you have the evaporation. If the sun's out, if it's cloud covered, you got to try to gauge all of that.
We look back now to 6th place as Ron Beebe comes over in 6th. He's being chased by Rodney Fowler on 14F.
And still struggling back in the 5th position is Donnie Banks. He proves what we said earlier. The start in motocross competition, be it 2 or 4 wheels, can be everything. You see Banks 5th. Ahead of him is Jimmy White leading the pack. Marty Hart, Eddie Sanders, and Sean Finley. Stay with us for the conclusion of the ATV 4s.
We're back at Carlsbad for the ATV 4s. Still, it is Jimmy White out in front. Marty Hart second. Sean Finley is now up in third. Donnie Banks running fourth. And Rodney Fowler is running fifth. We're watching the fight for the lead. 31W, that is Jimmy White. He's being chased by Marty Hart, and Hart's doing everything he can to get past on what, for these four-wheelers, is a very narrow circuit.
That bright yellow machine, that is the Suzuki of Jimmy White. And the machine just behind him, that's one of the Hondas we've talked so much about. And look at that Honda fly. I'll tell you, Marty Hart is a strong guy. He just muscles his way by and takes the lead. Possibly Jimmy White having a shifting problem or something there, Paul. It looked like he hesitated. But look at him fly now, literally fly.
Jimmy White back rolling again, but that little hesitation gave it away to Marty Hart, who is now the leader.
And Marty has already seen that white flag signifying one more lap. That had to be a nice sight for him, especially when it feels like your arms are going to fall out of the socket. You know, you go to any kind of racing, you explore the pits. And there's always a drastic comparison between the factory sponsor to the corporate-sponsored racer. I don't care if it's motorcycle or car. And kind of the have-nots, the guys that are working hard, trying to get the big deal. And it's no different here.
You know, Steve, back here in the pit area at Carlsbad is a reflection of what we see out on the circuit. On one hand, we have the big teams, big money support, factory teams, box vans with plenty of equipment, plenty of spares, plenty of parts to get the job done. On board, you'll have 110-volt electricity, plenty of storage, all the tools you need, literally a mini machine shop. And then, just like on the track, there is the dedicated privateer. His transport vehicle is half-inch plywood, some angle iron, a van to sleep in, but the dedication is just as strong and just as certain.
I could not agree more. And so often you see that underdog get in the winner's circle. Here is Marty Hart going for the win on his Honda ATV4. Honda's winning both of the motos. Donnie Banks the first one, and now Marty Hart. There it is. The checkered flag is out for Marty Hart. But still, there's a race for second place. 31W Jimmy White and 11F Sean Finley. It is going to be Jimmy White picking up second. Finley hangs on for third.
So Marty Hart takes the victory in this, the second moto, followed by White, Finley, Banks, and Fowler. And the scoring as a result of two motos now shows Jimmy White as the winner overall, edging out Donnie Banks by just a single point. Steve is now with Jimmy White.
Well, the quick new Hondas threw everything they had at Jimmy White winning both motos, but it was your consistency that won it for you today. 2 strong seconds, number 1 overall.
Yeah, I felt good out there. I haven't really ridden this four-wheeler that much on the rough track yet, and it really works well. I've been racing three-wheelers for the last 4 or 5 years.
National champion, as I recall.
Many times, yes.
What's the difference in riding? What did you have to learn to do different?
Not sit on the side as much, not slide it as much, ride it more like a motorcycle, basically.
You told me earlier after the first moto that the pressure really was on them to try to repeat in first. You knew what you were talking about.
Yeah, I've raced motocross quite a bit, and I knew a second place was as good as the first place. And after the first couple laps, I started slowing down a little bit because I seen that Donnie Banks was a ways back, and I didn't want to get tangled up with Marty.
Looked to me like you might have missed a shift going under the bridge.
I killed it.
Is that what happened?
Yeah, I felt like a rookie.
Okay, thanks very much, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, Jimmy White, he won it all in the four-wheelers. Now let's go to Paul Page with the winner of the second moto.
So El Cajon's Marty Hart wins that second moto. You were 8th in the first moto. What changes?
Starts. You got to get a good start here because the track's really narrow. It's more for bikes, and start plays a big part.
It was a whale of a fight there for a while.
Oh, yeah, we had a great battle. It was a lot of fun. I like battling with him. He's really controllable, and you can really go tire to tire the whole race and don't worry about him bailing or anything. He's really pretty smooth. But I just had a good time and had fun.
Suddenly, though, it seemed like you dropped back.
Pardon?
You dropped back suddenly, though.
On him?
Right.
Well, I just, played him as I had to win, basically. I mean, I knew sooner or later he was going to make a mistake if I just kept pushing him tire to tire the whole race. He had to make a mistake because he couldn't handle the pressure, I don't think.
Well, the Honda's looking good. Congratulations, Barney.
Thank you.
Take care.
So the Dodge Truck CMC Golden State Nationals is history. Our thanks to CMC President Stu Peters and all the competitors today. For Paul Page, I'm Steve Evans. So long from Carlsbad.
The executive producer for American Sports Cavalcade is Harvey M. Palish. Produced and directed by John B. Mullen. Promotional consideration provided for and a fee paid by the Style Auto